Greetings and welcome to another musical adventure in time travel. Today I'm going to demonstrate how you can play the wonderfully reconstructed ancient Greek Kithara. And this amazing instrument is actually, the word Kithara is where we get the modern word for our guitar. And just like a guitar, the Kithara can be strummed like a guitar with these amazing replica plectrums. Just a little bit about the instrument I'm playing. This is handmade in modern Greece by the ever awesome Luthieros, ancient and modern music instruments. And so these are based in Thessaloniki. More about Luthieros on my website blog, that's ancientlyre.com, and on the homepage got a blog called the Lyre 2 Project. And this is dedicated to reintroducing these wonderful instruments of ancient Greek antiquity back into the hands of all experimental modern musicians at very affordable prices. So that's my little blog on the Lyre 2 project. Back to the Kithara. This is a 9-string instrument, and I'm actually in the process of working on my first album with this, which is called the Ancient Greek Kithara of Classical Antiquity. And the first track, I actually use some very guitar-like strumming effects, this sort of thing. And so on. I'm not a professional singer, so basically the vocal lines are to accompany the Kithara rather than the other way around, but since this was literally the guitar of antiquity, it was crying out for some simple vocal lines. So this is the very first release I've ever produced which will have basic vocal lines. Mercifully much more enhanced by the mix, which is going to feature reverbs from Belgian monasteries. Anyway, back to the Kithara. Those chords I was playing can easily be achieved by a basic system of what you call string stopping, and there's plenty of evidence this was done in ancient Greek times. In virtually all illustrations of the ancient Greek Kithara, the player's hands are depicted behind the strings while the strings are being plucked with a large either bone or wooden plectrum, like this amazingly reconstructed one, that sort of thing. But this same technique of string stopping has still survived today in Africa, where the lyre has been continued to be played since antiquity, where it ended up there via ancient trade routes and has remained there ever since. And the block and strum technique can be seen on YouTube if you look up for the kra, which is a lyre played in Eritrea. That's K-R-A, very similar in sound to the word Kithara. Maybe Kra, Kithara, they have some ancient origin, who knows. Anyway, not to digress too much, I'm going to show you how I played some of those little chords to start things off in that song. The song is going to be track 1 on the album, and that's going to be called, it's based on an ancient Greek myth of Odysseus and the sirens. The sirens like the ancient Greek words, and the ancient Greek and Roman word for mermaids. And basically the song was so enchanting that Odysseus had himself tied to a mast so he didn't go completely insane and capsize his ship and things, so we could hear the wonderful sound of the song of the sirens of the sea. And anyway, digressing again, back to the chords I'm going to be playing, which feature in that track 1 from my new album. So, like a guitar, I've invented some sort of like a similar system to guitar tablature. That's where you give each string a number and a description of which fingers are actually playing it. So, giving each string a number, the bass string I'll call 1, then working your way up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Kithara I have here is a 9-stringed version, so that has 9 strings. And all the lyres I play I treat as transposing instruments, although the bass string is more or less an E flat to match my rather shaky baritone voice. I'm going to call it a C. It's just easier to think in terms of ancient Greek modes between the white notes, C to C on the white notes of the piano, for example. C to C is called the ancient Greek Lydian mode, which was misnamed in the Middle Ages. Some other mode, but this particular piece is in the ancient Greek Phrygian mode, which is the equivalent intervals as D to D, which was misnamed the Dorian mode in the mixed up Middle Ages, but the original Greek name was the Phrygian mode. So to play that chord, basically a D minor chord, what I do is I block strings 1, 3, 5, 7 and 8. That's strings 1, 3, 5, 7 and 8. That produces a lovely sort of D minor sound. That sort of thing. And then I can play a nice C chord. And the way I play a C chord, just changing round a bit. Here I am blocking the strings number 2, strings 4, 6, 7 and 9. So that's strings 2, 4, 6, 7 and 9. That produces a nice sort of C chord sound. And then going to a G chord. And how I play the equivalent intervals as G, I am blocking strings 1, 3, 4, 6 and 8. That's strings 1, 3, 4, 6 and 8. And together you can play that lovely tune like this again. La 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 la. La 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 da da da. That's your D minor chord. La 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 la. Then moving up to the C chord. La 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 la. Then going to the G chord. La 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 la. And that's just a basic introduction to some of the wonderful things you can do. It's basically a matter of experimenting which strings to block, which ones to leave open. Throughout the album I also illustrate the wonderful vibrato mechanism. That's what this wonderful structure appears. You can have a subtle vibrato mechanism by pushing one of these discs. That sort of thing. Or you can have a more pronounced vibrato with portamento effects if you use these little levers, these pillars at the top. Or a vibrato by sort of wobbling it around. An amazing instrument. So please look out for my new release, which is the ancient Greek Kithara. That's spelled K-I-T-H-A-R-A, the ancient Greek Kithara of Classical Antiquity. That should hopefully be out on iTunes, Amazon and all the major digital musical stores, including all the streaming sites such as Spotify and Google Play stores, etc. Hopefully by around March or April 2016. Keep an eye on my bulletins and thank you for listening. If you want to buy one of these wonderful instruments, the ancient Greek Kithara, as I say, look at my blog on the Lyre 2 project on my website ancientlyre.com, and if you quote the voucher code Michael Levy01 with each order on the Luthieros site, you get a lovely little discount of €25. Anyway, Hope you enjoy the music and keep an eye out for my new amazing album. Thank you for listening. Bye for now. Thank you.